Most are afraid of unknown depths, skirting shores thinking world flat. I'm with the island girls in celebration of new religion. Nobody led me or said this way. I sailed alone on makeshift raft with wind as companion. Prayed for deliverance, confidence enough to assess new disposition. Seekers of lost paradise may seem fools to those who never sought the other world. Welcome to Momentary Zen with Zen Garcia. Visit www.fallenangels.tv. You're listening to Revolution Radio.
Hello and welcome, friends. Thank you for joining us for another live broadcast. It's my great honor and privilege to share this platform of truth with you, no matter where you may be and whichever part of the earth plane. This is definitely some strange times, and we are moving quickly towards the agenda of the New World Order and all that they've been planning and preparing and orchestrating. And there's a lot of people that are standing themselves up to fight against it and to sound the trumpet to do the work of the kingdom. And tonight I'm joined by one of those, a good friend of ours, and also has been supporting us in Patreon and been part of our group as far as the Sabbath broadcast, even though we know that Sabbath is truly defined by the lunation, the cycle, and the phases of the moon, but we still have our weekly Saturday gatherings for the Digital Readers Club, and Zach has been part of that for a very long time, and so I'm honored to have him to join us this evening as guests. Zach, are you there, brother?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you, brother, for having me on.
Yeah, it's I'm honored to have you as far as the family that we've come to develop and join and have study all these ancient manuscripts. And so I think it's cool that we can give you a voice and that you're doing the work that you're doing and helping to break down some of our very lengthy broadcasts, because we're doing 4 6 hours a week, and you're actually taking some of those segments and um, bringing them to the TikTok and other audiences and narrowing those perspectives and sharing, really focused as far as messages. So we appreciate you doing that. And so, if you would, can you talk a little bit about that, and then share the links and the whatever social media you'd like for people to find what you're doing and support you in your endeavors.
Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, my name's Zach Lewis, and I have a TikTok account called Z Lewis. That's Lewis. That's 7770, and that is on TikTok. And I started making TikTok accounts. Sorry, those are my kids. They're about to be put to bed, but
It's all good. I didn't
um,
even hear him. So
Uh, well, so I started making TikTok videos because I've been a very long time listener of you, and so I started making smaller segments of your clips, and I kind of just started small and kind of just slowly grew the following account on TikTok, and eventually one of the videos blew up and reaching about 10 million people, and yeah, after that it was pretty much history. I think I had a calling given by our Father that I was somehow, some way, I was able to reach the youth of our generation, because no one wants to, none of the youth anymore can sit down and listen to a full segment video.
Right.
And so I thought if I could make a little, a little snippet of the good stuff out of these videos that I've learned so much from, I could, wake more people up.
Yeah, and you've been doing that, and 10 million people, that's quite an outreach, that is certainly viral. Um, and so if you would, how long have you been, and really what inspired you? You said you've been a long time listener as far as our work and our message. So can you share some of the details of that as well?
Yeah. So I started listening to you a long time, pretty much before you got into the flat Earth topic, where
Uh-huh.
you used to read the full scripts of like the Book of Thought or the Emerald Tablets of Thought, different things like that, where you would read the whole script, and I thought they were so interesting, and kind of my whole journey into truth was I never really cared for the Bible. I looked at it like it was something created to keep us in check,
Uh-huh.
until I started really seeing all the evil in the world. And I started really seeing that the people in positions of power and also in the music industry and television, they worship, they worship this evil entity. And, looking more into that, finding out about the New World Order and different things like that, I determined that there is something evil that these people are worshiping. And I ran to the Bible. And so I started a TikTok account probably 3 years ago. And at first, I just started because I was watching all your videos, and you always had those really, really cool pictures going on the slide by. And so I started taking a little bit of the pictures and making it into slide video, like a actual video. And I put, some truth seeking music in the background to catch the younger audience, and it really worked. So I grew a following about 20,000. I had about 20,000 followers after about a year or two. And then I started really implementing the people that influenced me in my awakening journey, like, mostly you, Rob Skiba, Nathan Reynolds, Robbie Davison, Parable the Vineyard, all these different people. I started taking little sections of their videos and putting them in there. And one of the videos of Rob Skiba was the one that blew up. Well, I kind of recreated the video because it was an idea of Rob Skiba is the one that actually reached 10 million.
Tell us more about that.
Yeah,
What was the focus, and what was the message? Um,
yeah. So it was it was mainly concerned about the Paramount logo
ah,
where on yeah, it was where Rob Skiba always, he always mentioned that, in the book of Enoch, there were 22 chief angels amongst the 200 that went around the Mount Hermon. Well, in the
right.
Paramount logo, there's 22 stars that go around the mountain in the in the enter right before the movie starts playing. But if you actually break it down, it does the same thing that the Bible describes that the Spirit does. These fallen angels come out of heaven, they start hovering over the water, and then they form around the mountain.
Very interesting. And yeah, a lot of the Hollywood movies and the iconography, the symbolism that they choose, it seems to be connected to the fallen angels, to the scientism, the globe, things like that. And so that's very interesting. And so, are you saying that Rob was actually speaking about the symbolism, and or was it
Well,
just something that? Go
well,
ahead.
Rob spoke about it before on many videos, and I
Yeah.
always had the idea in my mind, but no one actually put it into a video format with the logo in the background kind of playing. and that's kind of what I did. I put the logo
Nice.
in the background and, explained it as it was going through. And then
Awesome.
yeah, and then also because he actually, Rob bounced off an idea that David Flynn had about the actual coordinates of Mount Hermon using the Paris prime meridian is actually 33 degrees north and 33 degrees
Right.
east. But you only can determine that using the Paris prime meridian, which was what they used back then. And so once I like put those two together, I put that at the very end of the video, and yeah, it totally blew up. And I actually had like people that had PhDs and stuff like that were trying to debunk me, that were Hebrew experts and stuff like that. It was kind of fun.
Yeah, that's very interesting. But yes, Dave, for people that might not know, David Flynn and his work on Cydonia, which that book is very difficult to get hold of now, but he broke down, as far as the coordinates, and he wasn't familiar with the biblical cosmology. That was all before, I think, his passing, but he did section off the sky and connect it to certain latitude and longitude and showed that connection, and found, again, that Mount Hermon was at that 33-degree parallel, which is intriguing since that's one of the Masonic, the secret societies and the supposedly the highest level degree, even though that seems to be the beginning of um, the journey where the Masons and those that are in these secret societies openly declare and know and share, in their initiation and the rituals that the light bearer Lucifer, that's their god, and the lower degrees, 32 and below, they seem to not understand that fully, even though it's, in their writings, even morals and dogma, and Albert Pike, and he and they're not trying to hide anything, but certainly when you get into the higher degrees, spitting on the cross and all the things that they're doing in ritual, that should be an indication as to, their feelings. And even the Freemasons, the Templars, were said to be involved and committed to doing a lot of abomination as ritual, and that's what got them in trouble, supposedly, and outed them as to, their true affiliation, because they wear the cross, but they're certainly not lovers of the Messiah, and their intent to get and gain access to Jerusalem was for the wealth of Solomon, which, they it seems that was a success for them, and they were able to utilize that money and the treasure, and the wealth, to really blow up uh, their group and their secret society connections. So
Yeah, it's amazing, honestly, how to see in all the the TVs you got, TVs, video games, movies, music. It's in everything, and it literally takes the unveiling of the eyes. The Father has to actually determine this for people. I think that the more they seek, the more the scales will fall off. And yeah, when I was looking through into that video, also Rob Skiba, you know seeing that 1/3 of the angels fell in the beginning. Well, what is
yes,
1/3? Multiplied down, it's 33, 30, 33 all the way through. And it's very significant that they hide, they pretty much hide the truth right in our face. And it's kind of like it's like a kind of a mocking. They are mocking us with the truth. And maybe, I don't know if there is anything in an extra biblical book that determines that they have to do that. That would be interesting to find out.
I think that that is part of the protocols that they declare, because they say that in doing so, that then they are not responsible. It's almost like, you know, a, a bastardized rendition of the Ezekiel watchman's parable, where, we are told to sound the trumpet and let not innocent blood be upon us, but to declare the truth and to bring forth the truth of the gospel, and also to bring forth the warning of those things that are coming and what has been prophetically revealed to the prophets over the time and ages, but they think of us as the useless eaters and the masses as just the dumb sheeple. And if they just openly declare what they're going to do and hide it all in plain sight, that they're not responsible for our idiocy. And so that it's okay for them to commit and do the evil and bring on the slaughter of innocents and bring forth massive atrocities, and that in some manner they're not responsible, and will find redemption or forgiveness for doing so. But yeah, it's a twisted and a weird way to think, but
Yeah.
that is what it is for them. Um, Yeah, and we again do appreciate you taking the time to uh, pull out these different messages, and you were speaking about the youth and the generation as far as the young minds that are coming up now, and without a doubt, people need. I mean, the youth need guidance and need direction, and they do have short term focus and attention span. And because of that, um, they it's almost like a video game mindset. They can't
Mhm.
uh, sit down and listen to a 2 hour broadcast. And it's not that, we are only trying to put out broadcasts of that length. It just happens that over time and years, I was pulled on to these different shows that happened to be 2 hour slots. And so that's just what I got used to doing. And having to fill that time, you really have to bring forth a lot of information. And so,
Yeah, yeah.
um,
And you run out of time most of the time.
yeah, yeah. And I have to do even series.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's
But
go ahead.
I was just going to say, and that's one of the reasons why in the past, I decided to share and to read from things like the Emerald tablets and things that had length, because I wanted people to not only uh, hear the information, to have access to it, but to have an archive that would memorialize those kind of teachings and have it archived for people to, and no matter at whatever point, that there would be somewhere that they can go to find it and hear it and listen to it. And so,
Yeah, yeah. The amazing thing about the app TikTok, one, it is destroying our youth because it puts out these little videos that it's an endless consumption of videos, one after the other. Just keep scrolling up until you're up at 5 in the morning. There's a downside, but it's just like the internet. There's a downside, but there also is a good side. And there's a option on TikTok where you can save the video, and this is why
oh,
things
nice.
get so famous. So you can, or get so viral, you could actually save the video and then repost it, or you could share it, and that will save to your phone or your computer or wherever you're saving it to. And a lot of people get their stuff deleted that are into the stuff that we are into, but
Right.
before they delete it, you could save it, and a lot of people are kind of beating the system that way. And it's awesome. Because I started with like little pictures with like giant remains, mounds, and different archaeologist type of stuff of the Bible. And I always put some Destiny Lab in the background, and
Oh yeah.
it blew up, man. It definitely blew up, and then yeah, eventually just started breaking down your guys' videos, and then yeah, and then really getting into breaking down everyone else's videos and trying to spread the knowledge as much as I can. And I've met some great TikTokers that are actually out there. There's a lot more than you think. They're out there sounding the horn. They are trying to warn the people that the sword is coming.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are starting to take on that responsibility, like yourself, and especially for people that, because a lot of our listeners have done that. Uh, Jared Allen and others, many others over the years have begun to not only share a lot of the ancient manuscripts, which most people had not heard about. Even Adam Fink, speaking about and sharing the Targum, and Rob did a lot of that as well in the work that we did together. And there's so much information to consider. So it's awesome to see people open up um, and embrace new things because again there is so much out there, and that as far as the TikTok, with 15 minutes long or even shorter, that you can, download those segments really quickly and sharing them. And as you said, for a lot of information that gets deleted, for people to be downloading them and to save them and share them, that a lot of information does get lost and is um, purposely deleted and hidden. And so it's good that there's others out there that are grabbing it, and uh, downloading it and making it, um, putting it away for themselves and sharing it with others. We definitely need that. And so now I know you said that you were also doing this for um, Skiba Nation, and also that you're doing this for Nathan Reynolds as well. And so it's awesome that you're continuing to develop and are being asked to do these kind of things. But would you talk about um, some of the information and some of the videos and some of the other things that you've done that have also brought on a lot of interest, and then afterwards we'll go into kind of your journey and what led you to truth and the knowledge that you have now.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like I said, when I first started, I was just doing pictures that were kind of sliding by with music in the background. But then I started branching out and getting fuller videos with mostly you guys because you have an endless amount of content. So I just
Right.
I literally just started anywhere, and you know through you I met all these different other great speakers, and I started posting their things as well. And one of the videos that I started was a series about the garments of power and the rod of wonder, and that reached about 50,000 people, and it was amazing.
Nice.
It definitely was an amazing teaching. I kind of broke it down, made my own video. I found a beautiful painting that someone painted of Moses carrying a sapphire stick with the name of God in it. So I used
Oh,
that as the.
that's
It was
awesome.
yeah, it was awesome. I'll definitely send you the picture. I think it's a painting. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'd
But I
love
used
to
that.
see that.
Yeah, so I used that as the background, and I kind of went through, and then I explained how the story of King Arthur. That's actually the story of Moses pulling the rod out of
Right.
out of Jethro's garden, and
Right.
that's that eventually blew up and brought a lot of people to that type of knowledge. Also, serpent seed. That was one thing that I was kind of teetering on the releasing that type of information, because you could tell that there was a big contention against
Right.
serpency, but
Yeah.
now it's really starting to open up. You still have some people that come against it, but it's really starting to open up now. There's actually a thing called in TikTok. It's like a hashtag where you can hashtag anything, and it will put it in its own group. And the hashtag for serpent seed is up to 500 or 50 million. So there's a lot of people looking
Wow.
into it. Yeah.
That's awesome. It's great to hear, because I've been talking about and speaking about and covering this for so long, and it's self-evident to me. I mean, I don't understand how people really can even understand Genesis and what happened in the garden without considering the bloodlines and the lineages and their connections to what's going on in this day and age. The parable of the wheat and the tares, the goat and the sheep. There's so much connected to it, and how people can deny it is just bizarre to me, but so many do.
Yeah. And, so yeah, eventually, I just kept making videos like that. I put your the flat Earth court case on there as well. That really blew up, and I definitely put a lot of Rob Skiba in it. Yeah, Rob Skiba was a huge influence on my awakening journey,
Yeah.
and a lot of Rob Skiba was already kind of popular on TikTok. People were already breaking his stuff down and
Uh-huh.
putting it up. But yeah, I'm glad to say that I think I'm making an impact on TikTok now. I am getting censored relentlessly. My videos used to reach 100 million per video. Now they reach
Wow.
about Now they reach about, or sorry, not 100 million. Sorry, 100,000. Excuse me.
Oh,
Um,
still, yeah, it's a lot.
yeah, but now they only reach up to like 5,000 if I'm lucky. Yeah, they really clackle down on the chains with that, and also I'm losing followers daily. I lose about I have it confirmed through pictures and stuff like that I'm actually losing about 1,000 followers a month. So
Yeah,
they
they're
have their
unsubscribing and all that.
yep, yeah.
They
So
do
they
the
have their
same to us.
yeah.
Have
Yeah, I
been
mean,
for a very long time.
as and you've been on there for a while, and most of the craziest thing is that all these people that are coming up in the truth movement are starting to talk about the stuff that you've talked about for 7 8 years now. I mean,
Yeah.
this stuff's been out, and I'm coming at it with the knowledge that you brought, and I'm releasing it, and a lot of people, they're like, where are you getting this from? I'm like, it's been out here, man. You guys are
Right.
just waking up to it now.
Yeah, that's for me, that's confirming witness to the truth of the things that I've been covering and speaking about. Just like with the Thracian Chronicles, all of that material coming forth and um, having it speak about not only serpent seed and pre-existence, and but also the Holy Spirit being the feminine aspect of the Godhead. I mean, there's so much that is coming out through the Thracian Chronicles, and now there's all the epistles too. And I need to actually reach out to Stella, but she did send me some of the epistles, the Thracian epistles, the translations of them. So I need to do a show at some point and share some of that information, because again, it just covers all of this and is an ancient confirming witness to the things that I've been doing for a very long time. And the story that is related in them about how um, these ancient manuscripts were dug up. They were, led by the word of the Lamb, led the Thracian priest king Orphe um, to find them in a very ancient city where the children of Noah had buried them, and then he was given, like Joseph, the knowledge to be able to read them and to translate them and to make them available to the people of his generation. It's, the story is mind blowing, and it shows how that information was passed on and shared on the ark, on Noah's ark, and also how it survived even the antediluvian flood. I mean, and so, this is ancient, very, very, very ancient testimony. And it also confirms, which I think is so critical to understand, that the Bible was not plagiarized and that Christian beliefs were not stolen from the Sumerian traditions or Egyptian, but that the Thracian predated them by several thousand years. And that, to me, is just such critical knowledge. Uh, and most people don't even understand. They don't even know what the Thracian stuff is yet. And so, yeah, all that we've been blessed to be a part of and blessed to be able to share, having the bishop actually share a segment where he recorded a message for the conference. I mean, just this is all just mind blowing stuff. But can you tell us, let's go back. I don't know how old you were when 9/11 happened, and if that was, any kind of a catalyst for you, but what was it and how was your journey to awakening? Can you kind of take us down that path?
Yeah, so I was actually very young when 9/11
I figured.
happened. Yeah, I think I was in kindergarten. I just remember them shoving
Oh,
us in the
goodness.
basement. Yeah. All I remember is them shoving us in the basement, and that's kind of pretty much it. And they wouldn't let my mom come pick us up. I remember that. But um, so for my awakening journey, started when I was pretty young. I had a sense that something was going to happen. I grew up. I had a pretty rough upbringing. My mom and dad were both alcoholics and drug addicts, and so I got took. Me and my brother got taken off my mom at a very young age, and we spent most of our time in placement until some of our family came out and got us out of there. Well, when we were about teenagers, but we still spent a good deal of time in placement. So I kind of grew up having nothing and had to fend for myself. So once I started being able to get a job and actually get things for myself. I always wanted to be able to protect myself just in case. So I
Uh,
kind of slid down the doomsday prepper side of things. And I was looking into the New World Order, the Illuminati, and, at a very young age, around like 10, 11, 12, sitting in placement, they would take you to the library and you were able to go on the computer. And so I would kind of just research, or not research, but just look into things. And something was interesting. I kind of went down the little rabbit hole, but it really didn't start really opening up because I was so kind of against the Bible because I didn't understand it. And it
uh-huh.
really took you because I honestly I first started listening to you because of the ancient mysteries and the knowledge, the hidden knowledge. And I came across I came across you, and then I found out about Rob Skiba, and then Rob Skiba put it into perspective that the mythology was actually real. So all the ancient
Yeah.
history that we've been taught as fairy tales and mythology, they were actually real. They actually happened. And I've always been a history buff, so that totally blew my mind. I ran to the Bible, I read it, and I didn't understand it. And then I heard about the Book of Enoch, so I read the Book of Enoch, and it was like a key. It literally unlocked the whole entire Bible for me. And
Nice.
totally going through the whole Bible with the knowledge of the Book of Enoch. And then I kind of had to do a spin back when because I was listening to you at the time, and then a whole nother theory got thrown into it, was flat Earth, and I had to reevaluate everything.
Right.
And but it was a great awakening experience. Even through all the stuff that I've been through, I had a lot of people die in my life. I'm only 29 years old, but
Oh
I've been to
wow.
more, yeah, I've been to more funerals than weddings, so to speak. So
Uh,
a lot of my generation is being plagued with drug addiction and
right.
depression, and a lot of people are taking their lives, and a lot of people are using drugs to end their life as well. And
Right.
my sister was one of them. She didn't want to live anymore, so she used
Oh man, I'm sorry to
drugs
hear that.
to thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was one of the driving forces for me to actually look into this stuff, because with the Catholic notion of, if you kill yourself, you go to hell. And
Yeah.
so I wanted to find out for myself. So I dug through all the extra biblical, and that's kind of when I found you, is right around, we're kind of around that time. And you just had a whole entire list of just all these different books to read and research. So I dug into that, and as I was going into my awakening, all these things started happening that were really bad. Like two of my best friends died in the same year, and then my dad and my sister died in the same year, and then it kind of eased up a little bit after a couple years after that, and then I had another best friend, and then I just more of this. I feel it was an attack, you know, but
Yeah.
also it is the world we live in, so. And
Right.
ended up losing my best friend, which was my cousin at the time, which wasn't very long ago, which was very hard. But I'm persevering, and I'm just continuing to seek the light. That's the only thing I can really do.
Well, that's awesome, brother, and um, you're an example for others, and I'm sure that people that are going to listen to this show and hear this archive, they're going to be able to relate to your journey, because unfortunately, that is a large part of what is the experience of today's, um, as far as teenagers and those that are coming up. It's a lot of the parents that should be focused on bringing up the children that they bring into the world. They're kind of caught up and mesmerized by the things of the world, and especially the drugs. And the drugs nowadays are so much harder and so much more influential on people's lives, and all consuming as well. It's not like when I grew up in the generation before me, alcohol was kind of the hardest thing. And then in my generation, in following the Grateful Dead, there was marijuana and some of the psychedelics and stuff, but there was nothing like the heroin and the fentanyl and all that is plaguing the streets. And uh, even the marijuana now is very strong, and affects people at very deep levels. And so I've seen a lot of the videos, and you can see this all on YouTube, of just entire populations of people. There's huge homeless populations now, and especially on the West Coast in California, Oregon, and Washington, Seattle and Portland and San Francisco and other places where they're kind of even supporting the drug habits of the community. They allow them to be there and to not prosecute them, not arrest them if they have a certain amount. And we're talking about not just marijuana, but methamphetamines and heroin and things like that. And so the police are not able to kind of fight against these things, and there's no rehabilitation built into the system to truly provide an answer and to help people get off of these drugs and these lifestyles. the crime that they are um, committing just to support their habits. It's a really unfortunate thing for everywhere in the world, and we know that after the whole war on terror, where America went into Afghanistan, that the Taliban had pretty much eradicated the whole, as far as farmers farming the opium and the heroin and producing all of that, and things just blew up after we went there. And um, I believe the CIA and other clandestine organizations, they got involved with the manufacture and the distribution and the shipments of a lot of that stateside. And yeah, and ever since that time, it's really affected large populations of people. And now there's addicts just everywhere, so that the emergency workers, they're having to use Narcan more than they are in doing like firefighters, police officers. They're more having to fight against all the drugs and the influence of all that on the streets, rather than fighting crime or saving lives. And as far as fires and stuff, but these are
Yeah,
definitely weird times. But yeah, let me
it is.
give you a
Sorry, go
chance
ahead.
to comment. No, go ahead.
No, it is crazy, and that's why I definitely think that you could see the times. The end times are
Right,
near, and if you're not seeing that, I grew up around drugs my whole life. I was always around it as a kid. I was constantly submerged in it. I grew up around it, and even when I went to these placements, they were still drugs peddling everywhere. But if you're really around someone that's on drugs and they do you so wrong, or they do something to you that really hurts your feelings, and you could sit there and just like, how could they ever do that to someone that they loved? It's not them. This is a spiritual battle that we are
right,
contending against. And yes, that these physical things, that once you take these physical things, but that is like a doorway. As soon as you take that, you open that doorway. And once that doorway is open, they are free to roam in and out. I've
right,
seen I've seen some of the best people turn totally evil. I've seen people that loved and cared for me do the most disgusting, vile things. And I honestly, I knew in my heart that it wasn't them, but I didn't really see that until reading the scriptures and finding out that, in the end times, the whole world will be deceived by sorcery. And if you look up what
right.
sorcery means,
Pharmakia.
and it's pharmakia, and
Yes,
that's where we get our word pharmacy. So that tells you everything of what is going to happen in these end times. And that's what's happening. And that's why I wanted to make this TikTok account, was to reach the youth of the people, my family, my friends. And I'm watching everyone drowned, and that no one knows why. Everyone's depressed. No one really knows what's going on. And so I created the TikTok to spread the truth as much as I can, so their blood are not on my hands.
right. Well, it's amazing to me that you were able to come through and survive even what you have gone through and what you have spoken about here in this broadcast. And so, again, like I said, I think that you're going to be, an aura, that light on the top of the hill, which so many people are, as they're going through the tunnels, they're looking for the light at the end of the tunnel. And I think you're a beacon for them, and you're going to help a lot of people. And, your generation, they need to know that there is a way and that there is hope. And I myself, when I was younger, I'm 53 years old now. But when I was younger, I doubted also everything that, with regard to the scriptures and to Christianity and the Bible, and I went into all as far as the study of the New Age and read all the Zechariah Sitchin teachings and all of that as far as the Sumerian mythologies and lore. And it wasn't until I was led to the book of Enoch that I really began to understand the mythology, because the book of Enoch is the key. It's the silicon key for unlocking all of that ancient past. How the fallen angels rebelled against the Most High, their interactions with the children of men, and especially the daughters of Cain, the creation of a race of giants, the demigods of old, um, how that led to, because we see now in the archaeological record, in the geological record, there's even now in this day and age, so many hundreds of years after, the skeletons of giants are still being found. The megalithic sites and structures that the oral traditions, the native and the indigenous people speaking about, well, these things were said to be created by giants. You know, all the mud flood stuff now with the Tartarian Empire, and even looking at Petra and seeing the massive archways and doorways, and how it seems like those were places inhabited by giants. So the truth of the scripture comes out in that regard as well. The whole idea of evolution and what they try to get us to buy into, that we evolved the monkeys, or that the fallen angels are we were created in their image. All of that, when you understand that the Bible is 100% accurate and 100% prophetic, and that it speaks about all of these things. And also how in the times that we are in now, are being the fig tree generation and being at the end of days, that there would be a strong delusion because there's no love of the truth, and that even the most elect could be deceived should it be possible. The As in the days of Noah, those kind of things. Um, Without a doubt, we are learning so much and having to consider so much, and especially your generation. They're hungry for the truth. They want guidance. They want true direction. Um, but there's voices out there, but most of them don't know who they are or where to go to find that truth. And so it's awesome that you're sharing it, and that you're breaking it down for people, and that you're doing the work that you're doing, to bring it forth to those that really are in need of answers.
Yeah, no, thank you, brother. I appreciate you for bringing it out, because if it wasn't for you guys, the ones with these platforms that are putting in the work and putting out all this information, if it wasn't for you guys, I honestly, I don't know. The Father has His ways, so I
Right.
know He woke me up for a reason, and I'm just trying to fulfill what He has for me on this earth. Praise Yah. So, also, what was something interesting you said about the giant mounds. I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and there is a mound in a place called in the McKees Rocks area. And now this mound was the biggest mound in or it was the biggest mound in Pennsylvania. And when they found it in the 1800s, it was massive, and they started digging into it, and you could actually find this story in Giants on Record by the Jim Rivera and High Newman. But in their discoveries, it shows that I believe it was the Smithsonian that came in
Yeah.
and was excavating. And when they excavated in the diagram in the actual Smithsonian, when they finished totally doing everything, they wrote in the description of the giant, or in the bones, that these were giant bones, at least up to 8 to 12 feet tall. And it totally, all of it got dismissed, and they leveled it and made it a baseball field. And
Oh,
one
yeah,
of
of course.
one of the videos I actually made a video about that on TikTok where I go to the they actually have a small portion of the mound there that says, no climbing sacred ground. But if you actually go and look in the old newspapers, it actually covered the whole entire baseball field. And it's fascinating that, this is real history that is all around us. All you got to do is go out and look, get off the black mirrors for a couple days and totally just immerse yourself out into the wilderness. And that I'm real passionate about going out and learning things and seeking things. I'm a seeker of lost paradise, and I'm looking for anything. I would love to find Indian arrowheads or just anything, but finding out that there was a mound very close to my house, it was amazing to find out.
Yeah, they're everywhere. They are literally everywhere. And I want to thank you, Yvette Tres Palacios. I understand your journey, sister, and your struggle. I went through it years ago myself, and so she said that she has been delivered and that she wanted to share her testimony with those that are in the chat. Um, and so, thank you, sister, for
Thank
doing
you.
so. And yes, praise the Most High. Um, and that kind of thing. Is possible. And for me, um, when I was younger, I did look to uh, plants, especially marijuana. When I was younger, it allowed me and helped me initially in my journey to kind of commune with the Most High. But I think that people have to learn to let those kind of things go when you reach a certain point when they start to destroy your life, or if you develop habits or routines, especially if they're harmful for the body or for the mind. That it's a good thing to be clean and not addicted to or dependent upon anything. And I think that that's the kind of mindset that the Most High wants from all of us. And I do think that it can help a lot of people, especially with soldiers with PTSD and that are struggling with a lot of different things, and especially cancer patients, and with appetite and sleep. And I think that different plants can be beneficial, and they're much better than pharmakia. Uh, but for me personally, I made a choice long ago that I didn't want to be dependent upon anything, and wanted to have a clear mind. And also, I just think, again, that the medicinal marijuana is just so strong. But a lot of people are starting to use the edibles and CBD oils. And I think especially it shows that with kids that have grandma seizures, and that are not able to be treated in any other way, it's been so positive and so beneficial. And a lot of parents are, when nothing else worked, these things have really saved their kids' lives. And so, praise the Most High for that. And so, and again, I think there's a lot of positive benefits for a lot of natural drugs and plants and things of that nature. And that certainly the Most High has provided a lot of things to help people, and we just don't understand. And then a lot of that is taken out of context by pharmakia, when they're trying to create and get people addicted so that they can profit. Certainly, there was the whole movie as far as on OxyContin that just came out, that was released on Netflix. It shows the power of addiction and how it was that the uh, Purdue was peddling a heroin, basically. That's what they've been doing for a lot of decades, and they've made a lot of money. and they have influence over politicians and Congress and all of that, and are able to get away from being prosecuted for the kind of dependence we see on the streets. People are like zombies. That the over availability and the overuse of some things, it can be not a good thing for people, especially if they're not able to control themselves. But we are at break, and we will return for second hour. We'll go into these things a lot further. But again, I thank all of you for joining us in the live chat. You can, if you like to, go to Zen Garcia on YouTube, and you can find us there. We'll be right back for second hour.
I love motherhood more than I could have ever imagined. One of the most important things to me is nurturing a strong foundation in Yahusha's character in our children. That said, I made sheets that went over the fruits of the Spirit, the armor of God, the 10 Commandments, and creation days. Each day at breakfast, we would go over these and then read books like Cat in the Hat that just felt so void in meaning, but they loved the rhymes. I looked everywhere for rhyming biblical principles and couldn't find any. That's when I decided I would make them myself. Praise God, we now have our first book, Eliana and Ezra's Journey Through the Fruits of the Spirit, a first in a series. Every morning we now can continue to build strong principles even through rhymes, and I wanted to offer it to the babies in your life too. Please go to Sacred Word Publishing and search Fruits of the Spirit to get your copy. Or you can go to prophecyforchildren.com. Thank you so much.
As a bookstore for truth seekers, it's our goal to make ancient manuscripts which were once held captive by secretive institutions available for public consideration. In our generation, where wisdom has increased, as Daniel the prophet foretold, we have access to many of the testimonies our early church brethren were persecuted for preserving. After being hidden for centuries, these manuscripts have been leaked from various sources throughout the earth, and it's our goal to gather these sources into printable form to make available for all who seek the ancient way. If you're looking to deepen your studies of the biblical narrative, find these ancient manuscripts and more at sacredwordpublishing.com. Your partnership with Sacred Word Publishing goes further than the publishing of ancient manuscripts and weekly video content.
You also make a huge impact across the earth in orphanages in Myanmar, India, Uganda, and Kenya.
Your support is crucial for the development of the ecclesia of real truth seekers.
We thank you for joining us in hosting Secrets Revealed, Momentary Zen, the Digital Readers Club, Ask Me Anything series, and other shows that have helped lead so many to the truth of salvation.
To become even more involved, please visit patreon.com/sacredwordpublishing, where you can partake in exclusive, interactive, patron-only content and help us continue shining the light of love in this darkened world.
The war is coming, and it's your choice to decide if you want to be a warrior or a victim. Denial is not a choice anymore. Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, the #1 listener-supported radio station on the planet. Not giving up. Revolution Radio. All right. Thanks for listening while we took that short break here at Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. And now we're going to get back to your host.
All right, welcome back, everybody, for a second hour. I have your host, Zen Garcia, and this is Momentary Zen here. Excuse me, on Revolution Radio. And I'm joined by our good friend and brother in Christ, Zach Lewis. And also, I just wanted to answer Dr. Herbalist. And yes, brother, I totally agree. And I don't discount or, exclude. Like I said before we went to the break, I think that a lot of herbs and plants, especially medicinal marijuana, I think it can be beneficial for a lot of people on a lot of levels, even just with hunger or eating, especially people that have a hard time, with dealing with cancer, chemotherapy, or the different protocols that the medical establishment has them going through. And sleeping, like I have a problem myself sleeping, and I take something to assist me with that, along with melatonin. But I've considered even like going to see if I could get a prescription for like low dose CBD oil to see if that would assist me, to help me, because it is a struggle that because of the pain issues and the sciatic nerve stuff that I deal with every day from paralysis. So, no, I don't at all discount, and I think that the Most High made these things for a time such as this, and that, again, there's untold benefit, and that it has been those that are in power and that control the other side of pharmakia that has been against allowing, even experiments and like experimentation or the exploration of how things like this could benefit people. And I know for also that, as I said, with PTSD and severe depression, and when nothing else works, and for people that are taking like Zoloft and Paxil, and because these are very strong drugs, and especially for children, because they are prescribing them to very young kids when it's clearly, that they were not intended or meant to be prescribed to children, and also that it's causing, suicidal tendencies in people, and these are the side effects. And how can that be beneficial? All the side effects that are read with all of these drugs that are on the market, even the commercials, and you see that it is drugs and drug companies that dominate even the advertisement space in television and radio. And so that shows to you the kind of power, the kind of money that they have. But anyway, Zach, let me turn it back over to you, brother, if you'd like to share a comment or,
then let's move back into
Yeah.
your journey to awakening.
Well, just to comment on that. So, I do agree that, a lot of it's hard, there's a line between, medicinal use and then, abusing it. But,
Agree.
when I
Absolutely.
kind of realized that, we need to be set apart and we need to, I was literally ready to flee to the mountains. I was ready to go live out in the wilderness. This is before I met my wife and had children, but I was
Yeah.
totally ready to just leave everything and just uproot and just go. And because I thought I was being called to be set apart, but
Uh-huh.
in reading through the Bible, it says that He comes and pulls us out. So He's gonna come and pull me out. So
Right.
I do believe that, one of my great goals in life is to get a farm. Everyone's
Yeah.
goal is to, get some land, get a farm, just live out and just be self-sufficient. And, for the time being, our Father has sent me to the cities to where, the murders, the thieves, the wickedness is taking place. And, I'm supposed to be a candle set upon a hill, and I'm just trying to
Right.
shine forth for everyone to see until I get that call to get out.
Amen, brother. And I fully agree with you and myself as well, just because of my disability. I am somewhat dependent on government and assistance. Like I need help to, as far as my quality of life and also my independence. And so I interact with and have to interact with people and need to hire from people that can assist me and provide me and help me with the independence that I am able to be blessed to have, because I do live by myself. I have my own home and just have people that come in and help me, and I'm grateful to them. Um, but I think, even like the Messiah, he went to sit and to dine with sinners, and uh, he chose from simple people, not the so-called doctors or PhDs, the Pharisees, the professors of his age, and the church authorities. Um, and he was to bring that example, and he did his work amongst those that needed that example foremost, and so I think that, as you said, we're going to be protected no matter where we are. And I think that we can't just run and hide from the world, but that we have to interact in, and we have to contend with the world, because the people that are in it are the ones that need the help, that need us to sound the trumpet. They need access to the answers and to the secrets that, for whatever reason, the Most High has blessed us to have this discernment. Even with you being 29 years of age, your generation is still at a loss. Most people, they're not in the mainstream churches. They're not sharing the truth. They're not bringing forth answers to even the most simplest thing, like, what does the apple actually stand for and mean, and how does that apply to our lives? Even things like, why Esau was hated and Jacob favored, and how pre-existence and the war in heaven ties into original sin and who we are, and our call that Christ said, remember from whence thou art fallen. I mean, these kind of things, there's not the bigger answers are not being shared within the mainstream communities, and it's unfortunate, because I think that that's one of the reasons why people are fleeing from Christianity, and they are getting caught up in the ancient religions, the Babylonian mystery schools, and things of that nature, and especially the whole strong delusion of the ancient aliens as being our creators, because certainly that is being pushed, and that's going to be a challenge to a lot of people. And unfortunately, the elect is but a small minority. You know, I will call you one from 1,000, two from 10,000 is what it says in the Gospel of Thomas, verse 39. So um, I don't think that those numbers are exaggerated, that the elect is but a few, and that most people do not have the eyes to see, the ears to hear, or mind to understand. Even considering biblical cosmology, think that, you know, over 90% of the world still holds on to deception and believes it to be the truth when their eyes, you know, how many people go to the beaches every year for vacation? They look out over the horizon. They see that the water is flat all the way to the horizon, even to where the sun is setting and reaches the point of disappearance. And there's that pillar of light from the sun all the way to their eyes sitting on that beach, and it's unbroken. There's no curvature to hide or to disorientate or to misconstrue that experience, and yet people don't understand what they're seeing, what they're experiencing. They've been lied to, they've been deceived, indoctrinated, and brainwashed for so long they don't even understand what they are experienced to daily. You know, the whole idea that the Earth is moving at 1,037 miles an hour, which is faster than the speed of sound or a bullet shot from a pistol, it's absolutely crazy, ludicrous, and yet this is what we're told. Uh, Comment?
Yeah, it's honestly, Nathan Reynolds puts it honestly perfectly. When he said that he came out and started sharing his truths, that he went to the church and he found a bunch of watered down preachers that had no strength, they had no truth in them, and he was looking for the men that were supposed to stop this evil that was going on, and
Right.
there was no one, and he said he found a small elect few that were speaking the truths out there, and that's it all comes together. And yeah, it's people have scales over their eyes, just like you said, brother, because they don't have a love for the truth. The reason they don't have a love for his word, they have scales over their eyes. They're gonna believe the lie, and
Right.
that's what we're trying to do is trying to remove the scales, from a lot of people's eyes.
Yes, without a doubt. Tell me about your experience with you know, the 30-year-olds and the younger, even with you having a young family, because you know, most people your age don't understand truth and don't have the eyes to see. What's your experience with your family and, you know, people that are close to you, loved ones or whatever extended family? You know, what your friends, you know,
Yeah.
what's your experience with this?
Well, so when I first started coming out with all the things that I was learning, like a most knee-jerk reaction, they think I'm crazy.
Oh,
Some
of
my
course,
family
yeah.
my family will always love me no matter what, but they can't help it. They think I'm crazy sometimes, but that's fine. But slowly and surely, I started planting seeds all around me that I didn't even know were there. And one of my best aunts came to me with these type of ideas that I seen, that the seed that I planted in her months ago were starting to sprout, and I knew it was
Awesome.
only through the Father. And now I can gladly say that I actually have two aunts that are coming to truth, that are seeing that the Bible is the only truth that we have in these sea of lies, that biblical cosmology actually tells us the truth than what NASA is telling us. And
Right.
you know I still get a lot of flack from people, because I have a 9 to 5 job. I work at 6 in the morning till 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm a commercial painter, but I'm very well known for my beliefs, and I'm very strong on my beliefs. So a lot of people, it started as condemnation. People would make fun of me, but then now that the times are changing, it's so funny that people are actually coming to me to just get my opinion on things because they want to know what I think about it, because I'm so adept in learning about this stuff that they want to hear my opinion. So it's funny how the times are actually changing, that we no longer look like the conspiracy theorists, that they actually are starting to look like the conspiracy theorists, because they don't see it. Like, it has to be a conspiracy if you don't see what's actually going on.
Yes, yes. How old are your aunts? If
So
you don't.
my aunts are a little bit older. I honestly, they're probably gonna hurt me, but I don't know their actual name or their ages. But
Yeah,
I know
probably
they're
not
older than
good
my.
to reveal it anyway. So
Yeah,
yeah.
but I know they are of age. They're a bit older than me, probably 20, 30 years. So they're pretty old. And that's the most beautiful thing, that they are well and seasoned in age, that they can actually wake up to this at that late in the stage,
Right.
that they actually woke up to these truths. And my aunt, which is she's becoming one of my best friends, and she actually lost her son, which was my best
Oh,
friend, and he was my cousin. And it
yeah.
was, when I was a younger, I formed this bond with these group of friends that, we might have been a gang or whatever you want to call it, but we grew a bond together that was unbreakable. And the only thing that actually broke it was death. Most of my friends that were in that close bond have died and gone on. And my cousin was one of them. And after that, it hit her so hard that, she was really looking into it beforehand, but after that, the shackles were unleashed, and she no longer cared about what anyone thought about her, and she just wanted the truth. And just because of her intuition and the wanting to look into the truth, I started a Bible study just for her. And
Awesome.
every Sunday, we meet at a local diner that one of my aunts own, and we sit there and we talk about everything that I've learned over the years. And it's amazing. It's amazing. We have a small group that's only a couple people, but hopefully it will grow to be pretty big one day.
Oh, it will. It all starts that way. In fact, that's when even before I had a radio broadcast, that's the way I started. Was I was teaching people about the scriptures and about the truth of the word, and revealing serpent seed to them, even back in that time and that day and age. And so, yeah, it starts with that. Um, and the power. Jason had just said something about the power of prayer and how it just life altering it is, and it is. It's most certainly to be able to pray for others. And another comment in the chat room was where two or more are gathered, and without a doubt, I absolutely agree and believe and affirm that. Um, and that's what we're doing, because even the ecclesia, back in the time when Christ was walking the earth and embodied into mortal form, that was what they did. They got together as family and friends to discuss, the witness. They were witness to what the Messiah was doing, how God had come to the earth to be and to tabernacle with men, and so how incredible that all of that is. And that's the way it starts, and that's the way we create a movement, is just where one or two come together and start speaking about the truth and sharing it. And it has that snowball effect, and it affects when people know and are able to discuss the truth and to share such insight, and to speak on a higher level, because the discussions that we have are really like heightened awareness. You don't just come together with people out there in the world, in the community, and be able to discuss stuff at this kind of a level, the kind of truths that we're sharing, and even you and I communicating and understanding things, because both of us have studied this truth for so long now. Um, it's a great privilege. It's a great blessing. The whole theme of the seeker of lost paradise may seem a fool to those that have never sought the other worlds. I mean, we are that part of that minority, and we're blessed to have the eyes to see, the ears to hear, and the mind to understand. And that's just the way of it, because that's what truth does to you. It gives you that discernment. And when you study, when you knock, you seek, you find. And the Holy Spirit does really reveal. And so that's the awesome thing. But yeah, please, if you would continue to share more about your life and your experience with your friends and those that are around you. Because I know that all of us in this journey, we take a lot of flack for standing up for truth and speaking about it.
It comes at a cost. They're
Yes.
just like just like with all this knowledge that we have. It comes at a cost. It's we know so much that it's disheartening when you talk to someone and they don't want to talk to you about it, or they don't care about it, when this is the only thing that should matter in this life. This
Right.
word that we are given is the only thing that we should strive towards, and they just don't see it. And it's really hurtful to hear that. But you kind of got to be like Jeremiah the prophet, which I believe he was the weeping prophet, if I'm not mistaken. But you gotta keep going. And with my friends, most of my friends are still alive. They totally, they probably think I'm a whack job. I really don't speak to much of them anymore. And my family and my coworkers, they kind of just got to deal with me. But also my wife, it was very, very hard for my wife. So she came from a background where she was kind of privileged, but went through some struggles as well. And she kind of had the whole left wing ideology belief system.
uh,
And when I first, we got together, I didn't really see that side until we were actually together. But slowly, and praying every night, and just speaking little bits of truth and putting these seeds out there, I started seeing a transformation in my wife. And I started, we started watching The Chosen, and I was really just trying to
awesome.
wash her down with the word. And slowly this transformation started to become, and she actually started forming me to a new man. And we slowly had, keep rising in our belief in our in the truths that we are finding. And now to this day, she is, she's hard in her beliefs. She has a faith in the Bible, she has a faith in God now. And she kind of veered away from the whole political side. And she wants to have an opinion. She can have whatever she wants, because I believe that both sides are the same bird. Both wings are the
Right.
exact same bird. So
Yeah,
whoever
absolutely.
you're voting the same puppet in. But she's come a long way, and I'm so proud. And it's such an amazement to see the Holy Spirit work through me and work through her, that it can, sometimes that we connect. Just like the other day, I'll give you guys a story. We've been having some financial problems recently, and we were driving, and I would just got done at a Bible study, and I was talking about how giving to the homeless, and how like it blesses you. But it also, if you give to them, don't worry about if they're going to go spend it on drugs, because
Right.
you've already done the blessing. What they do with it, that will be on them, in the
Exactly.
judgment. And I pulled over, we're at a red light, and we seen this guy, and he was eating on the side of the corner. And I grabbed my wallet and I started looking for it, and looking for some money, and I had $1 and I was going to give it, but I also had a 5. And my wife was like, you know what, just give him the 5. Go ahead. I'm like, you sure? She was like, yeah, go ahead. So I handed him the $5 bill, and he said, thank you. I told him
Oh,
God bless, and we drove away. And literally, then the next day, she got a check in the mail from the government from a 2020 tax return for
Ah,
$1,400.
Right on.
It's just amazing how, how the Father works within all of us. Just you seek and you shall find.
yeah, absolutely. And that's the beauty of it, because that's the way that the Most High has established His law as far as abundance, is that we give to others, and in that when you are in need, it comes back, you know, 100-fold, 10,000-fold. You just never know. But it's the idea that the family of Christ takes care of each other, and not even that we're, looking for that kind of a return, just because out of love, we're caring for each other and one another. And that's the basis of it, is love, because God is love. My son and um, the different games or whatever, he always has that icon that God is love. And even, representing in that way, he takes a lot of flack and a lot of heat from people that are non-believers or atheists. But it creates discussion, and he's able to share and testify and to share his testimony in that way. And so, I think that we have the opportunity. You never just know. I'll tell a story really quickly about how this works. One time I was at a Grateful Dead show in New York City, and right after the show, we used to just wander around, and you would find stuff that people would leave, just drop, and from being either too high or just being in a rush or whatever. So, anyways, I had found a wallet that had $60 in it, and then I found a bunch of lighters. I found a jacket, actually a flannel jacket, which I needed because it was cold, and it was in New York City. And then afterwards, I went out. I paid my friends back for the ticket they got me for, and got me into the show. And then we had some beers and ate some pizza, and then went to the train station. This was like Grand Central in the middle of New York City, and I see this guy that he's sitting against the wall, and he has his hands kind of in his head kind of in his hands, but he has a tie-dye T-shirt on, and he was really having a hard time, and I sensed this, I noticed this, and so I went up to him and I asked him, what was wrong, and if he was okay, uh, and he told me that he had lost his wallet at the Grateful Dead show, and I told him I had found a wallet, and I pulled it out, and sure enough, it was his. And this happened to me and I knew that this was an opportunity for me to give back to him and to bless him, and that I felt like the angels were watching to see how I would react and what I would do. And so I made sure, because I did use the money, I made sure to pay it back in a different way. On the way down, um, the one of my friends, we took a train from New Haven, Connecticut, all the way down to New York City, and I didn't have to use the ticket because my friend was a friend with the conductor, and so we didn't have to use our tickets or to pay for that journey. And so I gave him his wallet and all his credit cards and this train ticket so that he could get home. And it was just an amazing thing. And this is the kind of story, this is the kind of thing that has happened to me in my life, when it confirms the whole premise of, you reap what you sow. in giving you will be blessed. And so I just wanted to share that with you. I did write about that I wrote a whole poem about it in my second book, When the Evening Dies, called The Crown of Babylon, which is New York and how this happened to me. And I give, of course, a lot better description of the whole narrative, but just kind of a example, of the the amazing way that the Most High works in that regard. So, but let me turn it back over to you, Zach. And
Yeah, that's an amazing story, brother. Yeah, it's such a shame that this world has indoctrinated our youth, and even me when I was younger, to not care for the homeless or the poor or the the widowed. It's you look down upon them, and it's so interesting having, because I have two young children, and when I take them for walks on the street, and if they see someone on the ground, they can't understand in their mind why they're on the ground, and they want to help them with
uh,
everything in them, but they don't understand, they don't have the capability of that. But just like the scripture says, you must be born again, and you must have the belief of these children, like these children
right,
have. And I try to learn, as I raise my children, I kind of see like how the father deals with us. He deals with us like a father, because he is our
right,
father. And it's just I'm learning so much about the relationship between a father and a son, or a father and a daughter, and it's honestly changing me so much that you know i I eventually started to make these TikTok accounts, because I see the generation that my kids are growing up in, and it's scaring me, or not scaring me, but it's frightful to see. And I want to see them
right,
be able to see a light at the end of this tunnel, and that's what I'm trying to portray to them. And
right.
so,
Ye-
that's kind of, well, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I see this with with my son and Joy when I witnessed them in their evolution as far as their parenting with Ella and Ezra, my grandkids, and being uh, the responsibility of parenting and of having little ones, and how awesome and what a great blessing that is. But I love to just observe and to watch them interact with their kids, and the way that they're trying to guide them and lead them and direct them. And my son just released that whole the thing on the scroll of destiny, and how it's also as it portrays myself as kind of a guide for Ella and Ezra, and how they are stepping up to do the work that their parents are doing, and dedicating their lives to being missions. And as far as the great commission that the apostles were given, that my family takes this completely serious. We've dedicated our entire lives to being scribes unto the Most High, and to sharing the ancient manuscripts and the hidden word, and bringing forth this for these revelations for public consideration. And the they they run all of Sacred Word Publishing. That's their entire ministry. That's what they do. And sharing the truth, as far as now working on these children's stories. And both Joy and Justin recently have released books for and inspired by their being parents now. And it's a beautiful thing to see that. And I see that this is also your journey, and you're wanting to assist and to help your children and the youth that are going to be coming up, with answers and direction. And so I think really that's what we're all, because they are the hope. They are the hope. They are the ones that are going to inherit. And their choices, their decisions, and the way that they are brought up is going to be the deciding factor of where the future goes. And and of course, without a doubt, I believe that we are, in the end of days, and that we are that final generation. And so the Messiah, in my belief, will return to save us. But I think that the youth and the children, our grandkids, they didn't know about these things. They need to hear it. They need to understand it so they can prepare themselves for those things that are coming as well. Um, the first will be last, and so I definitely think that we are in that day and age, and I think that no matter how far we go into the future and how many years are left, I know that my children and their children, that they're going to be a great part of the teaching and the revelation that is carried forward to help others to wipe off the blinders and to really be able to understand what's going on prophetically, and also to understand about the new world order and the powers, the principalities, the rulers of darkness, and the enemy that's aligned against us. They're not going to be deceived. They're going to understand these things from very early age, and they're going to be able to explain it to others. And that's a power that we just don't even understand. And your kids are going to play a role in that mission as well. And other individuals like yourself, um, that are also blessed with the eyes to see, the ears to hear, and a mind to understand. Their children are also going to be part of that generation that is coming up, that are going to be the leaders of truth, and the not only the seekers but also the finders of lost paradise. And so, that gives me great hope, because looking out in the world, I see so many that are lost, and so many that, as far as their children, how displaced they are from reality, and how, because they don't have um, somebody really guiding them and giving them direction, how it's such a struggle just to be in the world. Um, but I know, again, that there are others that are going to help with even their need for answers, and so that's an awesome thing. And so, I see you doing that for your children and doing that for those that are coming up, and it's a beautiful thing to see all that, as far as yourself and others standing up to do this work. So I honor you and what you're doing, brother.
Thank you, brother. I really appreciate that. And I, you're one of my greatest teachers that I've learned from. So I definitely thank you for all the knowledge that you've received, or I've received through you. I would have never found out all this stuff, if it wasn't for the Father leading me to you. So I'm definitely thankful that you got into your journey of truth. But it is amazing to see the growing up of our children. And the one thing
Yes.
I really want to make my children know that since we are living in these difficult times, but the Bible mostly describes the end times. Most of the book is talking
Right.
about the end times, and we are living in it. I mean, we were made for this specific point in history, where all the prophets, all the patriarchs, they all talked about this. I mean, they probably wanted to be here, and we are here.
Right.
We are in the midst of the war, and it's not like the old wars were fought. It's through the mind, and it's through it's through different ways now. But we are seeing the actual warriors break through, and they are shouting at the rooftops. And that's, I want my kids to know that I seen the sword coming, and I tried to warn the people.
Yeah, that's an amazing thing, brother. And you're absolutely correct that so much of what's been written in the Word is about this time and this generation. Even the book of Enoch, he says that he was writing for this remote and distant generation, that there would be a time when, there would be the word would be hidden, and that people would be needing the things that he wrote down and wrote about. And we're the inheritors of that. And so, for us to understand and to have the discernment to be able to read scripture and to make sense of it, that's a very powerful thing. I'm going to give out this shout out to Matt, Ohio, and thank you for sharing in the chat room, brother. And I appreciate your joining our group and discovering our work, and that it's been significant for you. Again, honored that, you know, what we are doing here, even Zach and I sharing this conversation with all of you, that we're ecclesia, that this is a time where two or more are gathered, and that this is the work of the kingdom, that we're all coming together to share this moment, no matter where we are in the world, no matter where on the earth plane we may be located, that we're dedicating this time and this space to not only fellowship with each other, but we're in communion with the Godhead. We are in fellowship with the Most High. Christ said, where two or more are gathered, there I shall be with you. And without a doubt, um, the presence of the Holy Spirit and the Spirit of truth is with all of us. And I know also that when we come together in this manner and we pray for each other, we pray for one another, we pray for our families, we pray for our children, we pray for those that are in the world, no matter where they may be, and for those that are um, lost and caught up in whatever way they may be with whatever it is that is keeping them separate from the kingdom, keeping them separate from prioritizing this work and standing up in this manner that we have all chosen to do. Um, we're the example for them to also find this in their own lives and to embrace it, because a lot of people walk, speak, but are not walking in truth and are not really doing, um, where they're born again, and it shows. Because those of us that are committed to the kingdom, we don't have to speak about or say, um, but people recognize in our lives, in our relationships with the Most High, how truly relationship with God, with Elohim, with the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, it makes us different. And we're different in every moment that we awaken to, the blessing of a new dream, the blessing of a new day, the privilege and the opportunity to be here in part of this experience of life. And so let us all remember that, and let us all carry that in each moment, because we're not promised any more tomorrows. This day could be our last. We never know what's around the corner or what could happen. The scriptures speak about peace comes sudden destruction. So let us remember, and let us enjoy and really drink the blessings and the privilege of each day. Let us remember to share our love with our loved ones, to remember to hug them and to tell them, and to share with them how much we love them and how much of a blessing they are in our lives, and especially with our children, because they are the hope. They are the future, and it's just such a joy, as you said earlier, Zach. It's such a blessing to be around kids because they're just full of awe. They just have, the awesome, how everything is awesome for them, and how everything is just fun. But go ahead, brother.
Well, they should. They're like an example for me. Christ tells
Yes,
me that my faith needs to be more like a child. So I'm
right,
watching my children and how I say something to my son Noah, and he immediately believes me 100% and will never doubt that. There's no reason for him not to believe me because he has that childlike faith, and that's something I'm trying to get back. That was taken from me from this world, and that's something that I'm trying
yes,
to reach out to everyone else, that to get that childlike faith again. And that's what flat Earth. The research and the knowledge of flat Earth. That's what brought me back my childlike faith. That gave me the notion that I can take the word of God literally, seriously, for what it says. It says what
right.
it says, and there's no twisting it around. And that's been my stance on the word for many years now. And now me coming out trying to reach to more people on this TikTok app. I reached a lot of people, and thank the Father. He put me in these different paths where Skiba News Nation of Jeremiah Skiba, of Rob Skiba's son, reached out to me and asked me if I could run a Skiba News Nation TikTok account for him, because he's very busy with the Skiba News Nation YouTube. And also Justin reached out to me, your son, and he wanted to start a sacred word publishing TikTok app, which I thought was a great idea
Oh,
because
that's awesome. Yeah.
it could reach to the youth. So uh, over the course of a couple months, I've been running this Skiba News Nation TikTok app. I've been running the Sacred Word Publishing TikTok, and also I have my TikTok account, and I have a couple backups just in case. But also recently, Nathan Reynolds reached out to me, and I'd been helping him create videos for his. He created his own TikTok account, and I've been helping him pretty much do what I've been doing with all you other guys, just shortening the videos and creating it to the younger population so that they can observe it and they can actually see it and filter it through and understand. And it's been a journey. I went from, I mean, I'm still a nobody. I'm still just a painter from Pittsburgh, but it's crazy how the Father has led me through this journey, and now I'm in contact with the people I learned from. I learned from all you guys. I used to sit here and listen. That's what I do, is I work and I learn. I get paid to learn all day long as I'm working, and everyone else is listening to their podcast, or everyone's listening to the radio or the Steelers game. I'm listening to an extra biblical book that's on my phone that's reading it to me.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's the power of your attention is that you have the choice to decide what kind of information you want to bring into your mind and what kind of information you want to share with others. Um, and that's an awesome thing, and especially when you're around children, because I think they learn from your choices, and they want to mimic, and they want to, because parents are their greatest heroes. uh, they the people that they love the most and the most intensely, the ones that took care of them their lives, especially in their early journey, those are their greatest heroes. And so you can see that with children, and they have a desire and a want to be with their heroes, their parents, and to learn from them in whatever way they can. And so, we have this great uh, opportunity to help them and to teach them and to lead them on the narrow way, to set a good foundation for them so that they can understand all the things that we had to struggle and fight to make sense of, because the journey to awakening is certainly not an easy a thing, and especially when you come to truth and you're attacked for it, and people, because that's something that is still so bizarre to me, how it is that people hate the truth, and that the world, because we're told that we would be hated for his namesake. I just didn't understand how that would be defined in my life, you know.
They're
But
scared of
certainly
what they
it's
don't
the
know,
truth.
you know.
Absolutely, yeah,
So what
absolutely.
it is.
If you would, brother, can you share your TikTok and your social media and anything that you'd like to, email or contact or anything with the audience here? And we've got just a
Yeah.
few minutes remaining.
Okay. Yeah. So I do have a YouTube channel. It's under Zach Lewis, just ZACHLEWIS. I also have a TikTok account. It's Z Lewis LEWIS 7770. And I also have a Facebook, and you can find me at Zach Lewis. And I have the same picture for every single account, so you'll know it's me.
Uh,
And also, I'm on Instagram, but I really don't post there much. But I am on there, and if anyone wants to contact me, you can message me on Messenger on Facebook, and you can reach me there, or you can message me on TikTok, and I can get your messages there. But also, I wanted to thank you so much, Zen. I've been listening to you for so many years, and this has been so exciting to me to actually come on to one of your shows that I've been listening to for so long, and actually get to tell my story. So I thank you so much. And praise
thank you,
Yah.
brother. And also, I want to reiterate something that Jason has said in the chat room. He says that you are not a nobody. Don't say that, brother. Words have power. You are a child of love. He says that you should say, I am a mighty man of Yah. Words do have power, and I agree with him. And you are,
Praise
brother,
Yah.
you are a mighty man of Yah, and you are that example for your children. And we are all, blessed to be that. Yes, Dr. Herbalist, Minty, yes, I need to do that more because my voice, for whatever reason, it gives out on me. I've just been doing this for so long. This is like 2006 is when I started doing radio broadcasts, so it's
I
been
was
a
in
long
elementary
time. But
school.
yeah, you're so young, brother. It's amazing. But hey, Zach, thank you, man. I had a really
Thank
good
you, brother.
time. And it was
Awesome. So
my
did I.
privilege to have you here. And so,
Awesome, brother.
yes. And all of you in the chat, thank you again for joining us and for supporting our work and supporting our ministry, listening to our show. We love you all so very much. We are praying for all of you, your children, um, for your discernment, for your protection in these times. And thank you so much for praying for my children and my grandchildren and for supporting us in the work that we do. Remember all the books, my son's books, sacredwordpublishing.com, a host of guest authors as well. We're just so privileged to be, as I said, scribes unto the Most High and to dedicate our lives in that manner. And thank you, Zach, and everybody else that listening, you're embracing the truth and you're letting it play a pivotal role in your life so that you can assist and influence and help others. We're sounding the trumpet together. Ezekiel's watchman. God
Awesome.
bless all.
All right.
Good night.
Love you guys. Praise Yah.
Love you, brother. Be blessed all. Good night. Shalom.